Hey guys, we're back. Taking the hinge pins out, putting new bushings in the doors. So door's actually in real good shape. I was kind of worried about underneath on the edges and stuff of it, but this one's in real good shape.
Sorry, we didn't have to take hinges out.
Good. Well, it'd be kind of hard on this one since they're welded on. Way to go, Ford. Thanks a lot.
Well, there's two good welders.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, they both had quite a bit of slop in them, so we're taking the bushings out and replacing those and putting them back on. But the funny thing was, to get the top pin out, you got to drive that thing out past the top edge of the door, and with the curvature of the door, you're almost taking the edge of the door with it. So that wasn't real bright. So the pins are going to go back in from the center out and put the keepers and stuff in instead of trying to drive it in from the top. That don't make a whole lot of sense to me, but well, I'm going to turn you off and we get something else pulled apart and I'll bring you back. See ya. Well guys, as you can see, the hinges part on the door jamb had quite a bit of slop in it too, so what we did, we're drilling it out a couple of sizes so we can actually put more bushings in it, kind of like in the door. So the pins will be a tight fit on it as well, but it's kind of tight space to get in here. We could have taken the hinges completely off the car, but we decided not to do that because of the alignment issue. So instead we're trying to drill them out with a step bit and then file them the last little bit to get the pins to be a tight fit, and then taking and pushing them down in there from the outside so the door will sit in between them. So that's an ongoing process, and Brian's working on getting that done now while I'm cleaning the doors up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to make the doors close a lot better.
Yeah. It gives us room tile on the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah.
That might press in, I don't know.
Yeah, main thing is we don't want to crack them. At least you can see the edge where it's at. The step bit we've got isn't quite big enough to go all the way through the thickness of the metal to the diameter we need. So the last little bit of metal that's left, we're having to file it. And we're just having to kind of do a little test bit and then pull it out and refile to make sure that it's not too loose or too tight that we damage the bushing. So, excuse me.
I don't know when I start.
Okay.
At least we got one in pretty good.
Yeah, the top one went in pretty decent once we got it started. It's definitely going to make a big difference in the slop on the door. We didn't realize it when we got the door off and got the hinge pins out, and then we realized how much slack there was in the body side of the hinges. So we get all that done, the doors ought to be nice. So while he's working on that, I'm out here trying to get the doors cleaned up. We've already got the hinge bushings popped out of these. We're going to kind of wait to pop them in until we get the door edges all sanded and cleaned up and get them primed, since we are going to have to paint them as well. He's changing colors, so we got those popped out. This is the driver's side door here that he's working on the body side now, and you can tell just by looking at these bushings that they are just wobbled out horribly. This is the top one, and it looks very bad. Had a lot of slop in it. The door moved up and down 1/4 of an inch. Of course, the bottom ones always seem never to get as much wear as the top ones do because all the weight is on the top hinge anyway, just like a door on your house. And of course, we've got some issues here on the door edge. They're going to have to correct some rust issues. I'm fixing to attack that with the wire wheel on the drill and see how many holes I can make that I got to weld back up. So I'm going to turn the camera off now and get a little bit more work done on these doors, and I'll bring you guys back when I got something else to show you. Hey guys, I got the driver's side door up here on the sawhorses where I can kind of work with it. I'm trying to think of the appropriate terminology Brian used. I think he called it a meat axe. Pisser, I need your help, buddy. Rust. The outer door skin in several places down through here has actually started separating from the door shell. And I'm going to have to probably take and trim off almost all of the inside edge of this and see what I can do about replacing it, hopefully without warping it up too bad or making the outside of the door skin look really bad. There's also a couple of holes in the door shell itself. Not sure exactly where they are now, but I saw those first two there. I think there's another one. So luckily the passenger side door wasn't near quite as bad as this. Something I found that was kind of strange with Ford was that they welded the door side of the hinge to the door. I guess that makes it a little easier to do later on as far as adjustments and stuff goes, because you only got one side that can be adjusted. But what gets me is look how shoddy the welding is on this. I mean, look at all these BBs that are stuck to this from where they resistance welded it. And then of course they filled all the gaps and stuff in with seam sealer, kind of, you know, hit or miss. This is actually where the support bar goes inside of it, and I guess they just did a little bit of seam sealer here to fill those spots. But I tell you what, I'm not sure if this has been re-welded by someone else later, but I think my 15-year-old daughter, who actually can weld pretty good, can do better than this. There's some pretty crappy looking welds, but luckily they're solid, so I'm going to try and go ahead and get the rest of this cleaned up. Here's another spot that once I peeled the seam sealer off, there was rust underneath it. And it's kind of strange because the seam sealer, the paint, everything showed no traces of rust whatsoever. It was still tightly held, but yet when I popped it off, there was rust underneath it. So I'm not sure if it got in from the other side of the door and then seeped up underneath there or what the deal was, but it's kind of weird. But yeah, I'm trying to get the rest of the paint and the seam sealer and stuff, then I'm going to take a grinder and address all of these little areas and try and get them smoothed out. And I'm taking a DA to the inside surface of the door to get where this plastic membrane or whatever it was that was stuck to it. There's even some pretty good places where they spot welded. It's actually got little burrs on it, and I've found several of those on the car where, like on the pinch weld and stuff. So fit and finish is kind of hit or miss on this. But I've still got to go around the rest of the door, the top of it, and sand all of it. Here's the back side of it where the latch and everything's at. It's not real bad. I just basically wanted to clean all that seam sealer out around that edge of where the door skin hits the door frame. I'm sorry, the door structure, to make sure there wasn't any more rust. All the drain holes and stuff were open on this thing. It was kind of weird that, you know, it looks as bad as it does, but that's definitely not looking too good. But I'm going to have to cut it off and see what I can do to repair it. The bushings and stuff, he got those finished up. We had to drill it out to, I think it was 17/32 with a step bit, and then take and press those in from the outside. And then he still got a file, I think 3 of them, flush to the inside of this because the door hinge actually slides in, and then that way all 4 pieces are bushed. The passenger side, of course, it never gets as much wear as the driver's side. The pins actually fit in these mounted side of the hinges much better, and there was hardly, if any, slop at all. So between putting the bushings in here and then putting the bushings in the door, that should correct both of them. But it's going to be a little while before we do the doors back on, because I've still got to sand and clean, do any rust repair that might come up in here, and get all of this ready so that I can get it primed up. Then once all of that's done and we get the other side primed, then I'm going to mask all of the inside of the car off, reprime the entire car, block it in 400, and see how close we are for paint. We're getting close, but I knew these doors would have to be addressed, and I knew what a pain in the rear end they were. They always are, but it had to be done, otherwise it was going to be dragging eventually. I mean, it only like about a 1/16 of an inch, and 2 coats of paint would have probably made that rub up here on this upper corner where the door would have hit the quarter glass. So that's kind of where we're at, guys. It's good seeing everybody's doing okay. I'm glad to see that this whole thing with Tom has kind of subsided. Tom, I'm sorry about all that stuff and that fella giving you a hard time, but like you said, it's water on the bridge now and we're all moving on. So hopefully everybody's doing okay, back to their projects, and I'll bring you guys back when we got something else better to show you. Y'all take it easy. See you later.